Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! It is the Sunday before Christmas 2014, and this is kind of timely in that today's episode, where Christians go astray, not all Christians, but where some Christians go astray, and a lot of the accepted traditions that a lot of people argue about or try to use against others on both sides of the religious spectrum, whether pro-Christian, anti-Christian, pro-religion, anti-religion. Everybody seems, well, I wouldn't say that, everybody. Many people seem to get this wrong, and I don't even know if what I'm about to say is right, but from all biblical accounts that I've read and have been taught, and things that I've researched on the internet, because everything on the internet is true, right? But it has to do with Christmas Day, actually, and where a lot of people misinterpret or accept as fact without verifying is the actual day that Christ was born. And I don't know what day it is exactly, but it sure is not December 25th. I saw a video a while back somebody posted, and it was an anti-Christian propaganda video that says, look, this, pagan god was on the 25th, and this Muslim tradition is on the 25th, and this pagan tradition is on the 25th, and this Oriental religion or something celebrates on the 25th of December. And, so Christmas has to be fake because it's kind of just perpetuating the same 25th of December theme. But from all the accounts that I've run into, the reason why Christmas is on the 25th of December is not because Christ was really actually born on the 25th of December. And okay, I'm breaking into this video again to explain this part of this video concerning why, another reason why Christmas might have been on the 25th, and evidence of this theory, which is quite compelling. I was watching a Discovery Channel show, and of course Discovery Channel is like the internet. You take the bad with the good, but the video talks about one of the possible reasons, or what they think is a reason why we celebrate Christmas on the 25th, was Emperor Constantine of the Roman Empire was back in 336 AD, the first Christian Roman emperor. Was the first time that was declared that December 25th was the birth of Christ. And a few years later, Pope Julius I officially declared the birth of Jesus would be celebrated on 25th December. And what the Discovery Channel was alluding to was that the reason why Pope Julius officially made it the December 25th was because the pagan holiday of Yule, hold on to that, Yule, was celebrated around December 25th, and the emperor and the pope were unhappy with the state of things, in that the pagan holiday of Yule was gaining a lot more popularity than the focus on Christ. More people were going over to the dark side, so to speak. So they adopted December 25th, which is around the same time as Yuletide, as the official Christmas celebration day. So when you listen to old Christmas carols, you'll hear the words Yuletide, Yule log, and the word Yule in there. I never quite understood that as a kid. What the heck is Yule? The Yule log. Enjoy the Yule tide and Christmas type songs. But that's where that comes from, and that's one of the theories as to why Christmas was officially the 25th of December, not necessarily the actual date of his birth. If you read the things that were going on that describe the time of when Christ was born, it talks about shepherds in the field, it talks about the star, and it also talks about why they were going to Jerusalem. They were going to Jerusalem to register for the census or pay their taxes. However, depending on the interpretation of the particular Bible that you're reading. And all historical accounts that I've come across suggest that it actually happened either in the fall and not necessarily in December, because the shepherds in the field, December would be too late in the year for them to have their flocks in the field, because it would be too cold. By that time they would have either gone to lower elevations or taken them indoors, kept them in barns or whatever. I don't know, taken them put them in a building or something like that. And the star would not have been out in the wintertime. And the census actually is, for me, the biggest indicator, because it requires people to go to travel. And it doesn't, putting too much stock in government, but in order to collect taxes or to pay taxes, they had to travel to the capital city to pay their taxes, and it would not be wise for the powers that be, the Roman Empire at the time, to require it be delivered in December, what our December would be now, because the weather would have been too bad, and it would have been too hard for people to get there to pay their taxes. So they probably wouldn't have been too many people showing up paying their taxes in December, albeit the Roman Empire was not exactly a forgiving government, but they wanted their money. So they would have made it a time where more people were able to travel to pay their taxes, versus making it an impossible time to pay taxes and then punishing the people for not being able to go pay their taxes. Even a brutal dictatorship type government understands that you can't squeeze blood from a turnip. So you can't get taxes out of dead people. All that aside, that would suggest to me that December 25th is, yes, a traditional day that we in the Western world celebrate Christ's birth. And even the word Christmas, Christ Mass, it doesn't align with why we think we're celebrating Christmas. Christ Mass is not Christ's birth. It signifies Christ's coming back to life. So more, if anything, it's a Mass for Christ. Because when it's our birthday, we don't call it, Salty Mass, or, if your name is Dan, it's not Dan Mass. It's your birthday, Dan. So Christmas is not a word that would describe somebody's birth. And I've got one of the websites available here, and I'll put, if I can remember, it's called whychristmas.com. I don't know if it's a pagan or anti-Christian, but from what I've read, it seems to be a pretty informative and I wouldn't say objective, but it does put it in context. Things about Christmas. So another thing about another indicator that December 25th is really, even if it started, for sake of argument, let's say somebody wrote in the ye olden days, actually wrote down, yes, Christ was born on December 25th. Back in 1752, the Gregorian calendar was adopted versus the Julian calendar, named for Julius Caesar. And the English, or the British Empire, was using the Julian calendar back in 1752. And as you know, the United States, even people in the United States were still, up until 1776, were British subjects, and chances are they followed British traditions and British dates and calendars. But back in 1752, the British Empire used the Julian calendar, sorry. But they, on, let's see, what day was it? September 2nd, they adopted the Gregorian calendar, which is the modern day calendar. And when they did that, they actually synced up the two calendars, and as a result, the calendar, the Julian calendar, lost 14 days, 11 days. Yeah, 11 days. So it says here, the day after 2nd September 1752 was the 14th of September 1752. So even though if it started on the December 25th, back in the olden days, that synchronization of the calendars, or the adoption of the new calendar, would have put the actual date of Christ's birth at January 6th, I think. Okay, let me break into this part with this part. The name Christmas comes from the Mass of Christ, or Mass of Jesus. A Mass service, which is sometimes called communion or Eucharist, is where Christians remember that Jesus died for us and came back to life. So our Christ Mass service was the only one that was allowed to take place after sunset and before sunrise. So people had it at midnight. So when we get the name Christ Mass, it's shortened to Christmas. But Christmas comes from celebrating Christ's rebirth, I guess you could call it. But it definitely isn't his original birth. Baby Jesus type birth. All right, back to our regularly scheduled thing with the calendar. Christmas is also celebrated by the early church on January 6th. 6th. When they celebrated the Epiphany, which means the revelation that Jesus was God's Son, and baptism of Jesus. Anyway, add 11 days to, if Jesus was actually born on December 25th, it's now 11 days from December 25th because of the switch in calendars. So, to me, that kind of puts all arguments of what day. We seem to hark on the minutia. That's a big word. Of Christ's birth. It's kind of like when you get two gun guys in the same room and they're arguing about 9mm and .45 caliber. What's important is that we do recognize, to me as a Christian, yes, I do celebrate on December 25th because it's just kind of always been that way. And a lot of that has to do with marketing and the secular world entering in our lives, and that's reality. That's just where we are in society. But to me, it's more important to remember the whole reason for the season saying that it's just a day. If you just kind of step back and look at it as it's a day that Christians have set aside to universally accept or universally celebrate Christ's whole life, not just his birth, which is important, but everything he's done throughout his life, and how blessed we are, and remind ourselves what our blessings are. Giving each other gifts, and I think people lose sight of that and get wrapped up in the tangible things like the gifts and the money and the, oh my goodness, what are they going to think if I don't give them a gift, or what are they going to think if I don't give them a nice gift? You know, all that is nice, but it takes away from the true meaning. So I don't want this video to be a downer. Quite the opposite. I want to remind people during Christmas time, make time to just be with your friends, be with your family, and enjoy their presence and enjoy the blessings of everything you do have. Yes, there's a lot of suffering in the world, and yes, your life may not be what you thought it would be, or you may not be where you had hoped to be, or you may not be able to be with your friends and family, but it's a good time to reflect and step outside your conditions and step outside where you are and be thankful, albeit hard, and be thankful for what you do have and appreciate what you do have. And to me, that's more the message of Christmas than anything else. All right, I hope and I pray that everybody has had a great year, and I hope and I pray the best for everybody out there watching in the coming year, and that God blesses you and your family and your friends and everything that makes life great, that makes life good for everybody. And with that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. You'll see some videos after this. This isn't the last video of the year by any means, but I just want to take this moment to say Merry Christmas. Thanks. Take care. Bye. You know, what was transpiring... When you're reading in the Bible of things that were going on during the time where Mary and Joseph are going to Jerusalem. Okay. Take 5, 4,